Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this brief session on something that I think is really important for folks right now, and that's driving some strategic priorities while still being able to respond to things like the global pandemic. My name is Chris Backous. I'm a senior transformation sensei at the Virginia Mason Institute. It's my pleasure to bring some of this thinking, and I hope that you take away some things that might help you stay the course and be able to respond to the global pandemic, among other challenges that arise throughout the years. So the important thing is starting with your strategic vision, strategic plan. This happens to be the Virginia Mason Strategic Plan, placing the patient at the top, our vision to be the quality leader in transform healthcare, our mission to improve the health and well-being of patients we serve, focusing on our people, quality, service, and innovation, and using our Virginia Mason production system as our management method, as the method by which we achieve our strategic focus. So many organizations have a strategic graphic like this. They commit to it. They're very dedicated to their strategic vision. Where often they are challenged is how do we bring that forward into meaningful work year after year, with the capacity to deal with situations that arise, whether they're one-time events, global events like the COVID-19 pandemic, environmental challenges, earthquakes, fires, floods, issues within a community, community shootings, mass casualty disasters, just lots of things that come up that could be very disruptive, short-term or long-term in the work. So what we want to do here is talk a little bit about the framework that allows you to focus on the most important work every year for your organization and create capacity for dealing with those issues that arise and how to best respond when something arises unexpectedly, and how to still stay the course and perform as an organization. So we often are known for sharing that a leader's job is to do three things: to know your business, to run your business, and improve your business. So in knowing your business, it's important to have an environmental scan, really understanding who you are from your strategic vision and focus standpoint, and how does that play out against the challenges you're facing both internally and externally within the healthcare industry. Really understanding then a baseline of where are you in response to those challenges, running your business, being able to deliver to meet the needs of your community and the demand. And in the CHC world, that's also meeting the obligations of your funders. Measuring performance against some of the key performance indicators that you are accountable to, and then how you embed improvement ability and daily management activities across all levels of the organization. So as in knowing your business, you begin to learn how to more effectively run your business, which really sets you up for knowing where you are with your strategic vision is where you want to go. It allows you to line out the improvement, or that third phase of improving your business, where you're actually getting the most value for every effort because they remained aligned and accountable to all of the objectives that you are challenged to achieve, as well as alignment that you hope to achieve to your strategic vision. One of the most important things in the improve your business category is capturing the learning. What are you learning along the way? It's important to realize that everything you do allows you to learn how to do it better, how to go more effectively at the improvement, achieving your goals, and also what it takes to sustain that improvement. And then the fourth thing that we've all learned recently is how to adjust your business in response to crises as they come along. And I think that's, how do we not put aside everything that we're trying to do? How do we include our response and still focus on a few things that allow us to maintain business continuity? So as the crisis begins to normalize, much of like the situation we all find ourselves in now, how do we not have to restart what we were doing, but just pick up the intensity again, because our business continuity, our ability to keep our doors open and continue serving our patients becomes most critical at these times when we're managing crisis response and service delivery. I think it probably is most elegantly shared by a physician who says the longer our more chronically and needy patients wait to resume their care, the more harm is done to them. So with this idea of time is harm, we need to really make sure that we're able to open our doors as safely and as effectively as they can to continue to meet the needs of our patients and our communities. So I think the first thing about knowing your business is understanding the gap between your declared strategic vision and how you can perform as an organization. And I think the wider gap from knowing who you're trying to be and what you're trying to do really increases the impact of variability and new things coming in and disrupting. And so the wider that gap of knowing what you're doing from your true north or your strategic vision, if we can close that gap and narrow the gap down, we actually go from kind of constant firefighting to being able to manage in the smaller disruptions, because we know our path. We're staying focused on a few key things. The key on that bullet point until they're complete. So one of the fatiguing factors for many organizations is they get very good at declaring their goals, but then the very next year they declare a whole new set of goals and they haven't yet completed. And so that urgency to set new goals before the patience to say, we still have work to do, can be very fatiguing on an organization and actually widen the gap again. So we see organizational progress and we begin to see the value of the impact of each change we're making, the more closely we can align our strategic vision to how we run ourselves every year as a business. And in that is what we call our strategic goal setting. It's built on a framework of world-class management where we strategically align the organization with goals that are fewer in number, that are linked to the things that are most important for us to work on. It allows us then to work across the organization, across departments, across divisions on behalf of the patients who journey through our system. And that's what we call the cross-functional management, which finally then trickles down to a daily piece of how do we know our business, run our business, and identify opportunities that we can take today to improve our business under this idea of daily management. So what this allows us to do is to take this very powerful and meaningful strategic vision, which is very much a long-term look at who we're trying to be, break it down into meaningful pieces of work over maybe 3 to 5 years. Out of that, then building annual goals that often carry over. Maybe they carry over as the key subject and the key focus area. But let's say one of your 5-year goals is managing care transitions. In the year 1, you might pick one service line. Once it's stable and reliable, year 2, you maintain the care transition prioritization, but you look to a different service line to begin that work. Ideally, over time, once you really master the strategic annual goal setting process, you begin to develop these departmental goals and individual goals. So how does this help you in response to a crisis? This is the knowing your business part. The more we know about who we are and our plan to achieve who we're trying to be, the easier it is for us to understand the impact of anything that comes our way and allows us to more respectfully respond and still maintain some prioritization of work that really should continue because we've declared it a priority for the year. So the selecting priorities is quite a task. And so here's just some hints about selecting priorities that we've learned through the years. First of all, pick areas that are high risk for the organization, high opportunity for the communities that you're serving. High risk for them because if we were not focusing on this, they might not do as well as they could. Really look at the trends from your environmental scan process. This is something that we do with our clients very methodically to tease up the right things to talk about and the right things to focus on. And then pull back from all of the things that have revealed themselves as a priority in your environmental scan and map them back to your strategic organization so that you understand why you're making the choice to pursue some of these areas and not others. Habits to avoid: setting new goals when you haven't completed your current goals, choosing too many goals to focus on in 1 year's time, that real discipline of what are the 1, 2, or 3 things we really must focus on versus all of the things we could. Choosing goals that don't really align with the current environment or strategic vision. So this is where we start to focus on who we are and who we're trying to be without keeping an eye on how we're needed in support of our communities. I think this is really key for the community health centers across the country, in that their sole mission is to really meet the unmet community needs. And so being able to wire in the why we exist, who do we serve, and what do we hope to achieve really becomes essential. And then really also that final piece of, at the beginning of the year, you set goals, and in the middle of the year, you reset goals, and then you reset goals, because we can't seem to stay focused on the things that are of highest priority. We tend to take on more than we might be capable of achieving, or we might chase the next flashpoint instead of saying, how can we make use of the work we're already doing to address the situation? So staying focused is really key. Habits to avoid are really that a bit of a attention deficit disorder of chasing the next big thing when we really haven't mastered the work we committed to do. We have a process that we take people through. It begins with a focus on prioritizing the right goals, then finding a way to message those goals for meaning for the organization, because we know that it's not just the leadership team that allows an organization to be successful in its goal work. It requires the workforce, and their input is critical. Catchball is a very important sharing of information to create the dialogue and buy-in that we're looking for, so we can deploy the work and then measure and sustain the goals through regular check-ins and reflections. So this is some work that we do offer at the Virginia Mason Institute, and we'd be very happy to talk with anyone individually after that. So again, through the environmental scan, we learn those things of most priority. We use an A3 structure to help people understand and dedicate their work in a meaningful way, making sure not only they've determined the work, but they've also determined the right resources needed, the right people to engage, and the right leadership team to get behind the work. We then share the information in a systemic way to get the buy-in from the workforce. We deploy in meaningful ways. We schedule the work out. We're not trying to do everything at once. We put things in the right order. Working through that's really key, because this is where knowing your organization, its culture, its willingness to accept change, and its willingness to think differently is really critical. And if not, there's still work to do. So how do we continue to prepare the organization and improve their abilities on many of those dimensions so that we can get the work done? And we'll be able to see that by reporting and holding people accountable to regular check-ins to say, are we making progress? What are we learning? And what can we do differently as a result of our learning? So in an organization, you're asked to do many things, but here's what we'd like you to do just at the end of this little session is think about the process we laid out and how you do your work. Are there strengths in what we do that you could learn from? Are there questions or data that would help move you forward into a more deliberate goal setting process? And of course, please let us know how we can help during this conference or at other times. 2 ways effectively you can get in touch with us right now. You can chat with us. We can also schedule a one-on-one session for you or a group of your coworkers to kind of come together and talk about this topic. But at the end of the day, what we've learned in our experience and the experience with many of the clients we work with across the globe is that those organizations that have built that rigor or that commitment to knowing who they are and what they're trying to accomplish each year through a deliberate goal setting process, they've been the ones most flexible and able to withstand the pressures and the challenges of the crises that come along. And they have been able to continue working towards some of the most highest priority objectives throughout the year. So it's never an either or when responding to a crisis, but how do we still do our work and address things in a crisis? So with that, we just want to thank you for your time. Remember, chat with us, schedule a one-on-one, let us know how we can help. And I wish you the greatest success as you continue to transition from crisis back to normal operations. Thank you.